Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Aligning with Success. I'm your host, Mike DiMuccio, Nick and Royal Diamond. And I hope many of you have had a chance, if you were not on last week's Aligning with Success call, where our featured guest was Richard Brook. If you haven't watched, if you've seen it, great. If you haven't, you might want to watch the playback. It's on the Core Consultant WhatsApp chat. It's also on the Royal Alliance YouTube channel under Aligning with Success. It just has a different thumbnail than the traditional thumbnail for Aligning with Success. But honestly, I love listening to Richard. He's one of the real gems in the industry. He tells it like it is. He doesn't mince words. He's an incredible coach and teacher and has had success on all fronts of our industry, from the inside as a corporate founder of a network marketing company to a person who's built successful network marketing businesses, to now a coach and personal development coach for network marketers globally. He's also launching this week, I believe, is the mastermind or the master workshop on momentum. If you've never taken a course with Richard, actually, Barbara Richmond, you're on the line. Perhaps you can jump in, because I know you are on one of his latest courses. Maybe
it was fabulous. The way he teaches, the way you're going to get the most out of his teaching is to take his lessons and apply them. It was 2 hours each week, Monday night and Tuesday night, for an hour each. He gives you homework, and the best way for you to get out of his course is to do what he asks, follow it implicitly. He'll get you to do your 1-minute miracle story. He even gives you an opportunity to present your story and to personally critique you on your story.
Now, that's the curriculum you are in. I don't know if this is going to be identical, but just, would you say it was worth your time and investment?
Absolutely. And if I could do it again, I would.
Okay, well, you can do the momentum course. I would really thank you, Barbara. I really,
that's what it was called, Mike, was Momentum Masterclass.
I know, but he has updated it. So I just want to say, you come to these calls because, number one, you want to be plugged into the community, you want to be inspired, you maybe want to learn something new. And I'm almost of the opinion that no matter what I say, it's going to be something I've said before. So it may not necessarily be new, and I don't know how much more inspiring I can be. But I do find that a lot of my best lessons have come when I learn from others. And so keeping that door open to learning from people outside of our industry, or not outside the industry, well, even that too, but basically people who have a different perspective from where we're coming from. And the other thing that you tend to do is, when you've invested in it, it's such a small cost. I mean, it's ridiculously, it's priceless, but it's such a small investment. But when you put time and money into something, you tend to be more diligent about it, and it's results oriented. So you're going to come away from his class with some results to speak of. And I think, that's why you're investing the time that you are here tonight, is because you want to improve your results in your business. So I think,
can I add something, Mike?
Sure.
As a result of his class, I was one of the top sponsors in the month of May.
Okay, there you go. So there you go. It's a direct correlation to your production. And I think, honestly, I know I'm not alone here. I know I speak for Ben and others who do their work to help improve your awareness, your ability to succeed in this business in different ways. And we just want as much as we can give you, and we want you to have the best. So when we put our endorsement on somebody like I do on Richard, I think it's a really smart decision to be part of his program and gain a heightened awareness. I love the stuff that he covered. in our last call. So if you haven't watched it again, do watch it, from last week's Aligning with Success. It was really simple, but completely applicable. You know, one of the things he talked about was the first thing, the person's motivation, their why. You know, if they don't have such a thing, then they're not going to do anything. And you can definitely see the relationship if somebody joins the team or sponsor, even buys a product. If there's no action that follows that, it's because they've not really connected the why. They haven't connected the dots. So it might be just having a conversation with somebody you've sponsored recently or in the past and say, you know, I've noticed that you really haven't done much with this. And I know you got involved for a reason. And maybe you didn't even know why. Maybe that reason wasn't really fully flushed out. I'd like to, if you have the time now, to maybe just consider that. And honestly, I deal with that every day as well. I've got a young group that's getting started. And, you know, there's disappointment when you've got people who, for instance, don't show up on a call or don't meet their goals, or they set the goal, but then there's no action that relates to that whatsoever. You don't see the correlation, the action. So why would anybody not follow through? And I had this conversation tonight, actually, with my girls. I said, you know, when I started NECAN back in 1991, the end of it was December 91, and we officially launched in January of 92. So I sort of had a 2-week runway before NECAN was official in Canada to get my ducks in a row. But I consider, you know, who was I then? I was a guy who was making about $29,000 a year as an electrician. I was working very long hours in the summer, as long as 12 or 14-hour days, 6 days a week. I was not doing at all anything I had ever expected myself to be doing. I just found myself in that situation. I had so many other ideas in life and ambition in life. And now on top of that, I had a back injury that I had sustained. And so I was living with pain every day. Things were not looking really good for me. And then NECAN fell on my lap. It took me 48 hours to join, not 48 months or 48 weeks. It was literally 48 hours I was in. And I look at, well, what did I do that first few months, that first few weeks, that first few months? I acted as if I had to succeed. I did what a person who expected to succeed would do. Not sure what happened there. You've been signed out. Okay, thanks, whatever. So, I mean, I'm looking at what it is that I did, and I wonder how many people join NECAN and act like that. Act like, you know, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Act like, you know, you can't sleep unless you've done the best you can for that day. Act like everybody who you know needs to know about this, and you just know somebody's going to figure this out or somebody's going to join, and you're willing to talk to 5 people a day. I mean, that's what I did when I started. What kind of person do you have to be that way? I think you have to be somebody who really is motivated by something that you want. And in my case, the want was not a career in NECAN. It wasn't what I was after. I wanted out of the rat race. I wanted out of that job that was going absolutely nowhere, and I had absolutely no intentions of being in. I wanted back into a life where I could call some of the shots and I had some control over my life. That's what I was motivated by. I wasn't motivated by my upline telling me what to do, because quite frankly, they probably couldn't. I was not one who needed anybody to crack a whip. So is that what it takes? Does it take finding a few people like me? Well, if you want to have a business that grows quickly and has a long-term outlook, then yeah, I guess it does take finding somebody like me. So now is that age specific. I was one of the youngest people when I joined NECAN. I was the youngest Royal Diamond when I went Royal Diamond at 33. So is it age specific? Not according to the time then. What was it about? It was about hunger. It was about the need, the desire to make something significant happen in my life. And goodness, I think anybody could apply themselves for 90 days with some commitment and some focus if it was something that they believed even remotely had the potential to get them where they wanted to go or out of where they were at. You know what I'm saying? So I find that the real movers and shakers of this business are people who had the work ethic that it takes to find other people like them. And that work ethic is not weekly, it's daily. It's a daily commitment to reach out and connect with people. The best example, and I can't say the only example, but the best example I know, I'm aware of on this call right now is Leo. He's one person I know without a doubt is contacting 1 to 2 new people every day because that's his MO. That's his business is on when he's doing that. He knows that, and it's off if he's not doing that. So, and that's what it takes. It takes a commitment like that to have your dreams come true. I look at why don't people have their dreams come true? Is it that they don't have any dreams? Or is it that they're not willing to do what it takes to have those dreams come true? Maybe they've learned in life, you know, try. You gotta try at least, right? And so they're satisfied with trying. How many of you have a pen? If you have a pen on your desk in front of you, raise your hand. You have you have a desk. Okay. Those of you who have your pen in your hand, just place it down on your desk, would you? Okay. Here's what I'd like you to all do now. Would you please try and pick up your pen? Go ahead. How many of you have your pen in your hand? I didn't say pick it up. I said try to pick it up. Haha, you see?
Believe and try.
You either pick it up or you don't. What's try? It's no thing. And yet we seem to be okay with that. We seem to be okay with trying instead of doing, actually doing. So here's one that you might want to add to your vernacular. Don't try. Don't be committed to trying. Be committed to succeeding. Wow, what a difference. So when you're enrolling somebody, when you're sponsoring somebody, have that conversation. Say, listen, I can tell you as your sponsor, hey, let's give this our best try. You know, let's really try to make this work. We could do that. We could have that conversation. That would be normal and certainly expected. But is there a difference between trying to succeed and committing to succeed? Would there be a difference in how a person approached everything about this? The way they learned, the way they applied what they learned, the commitment to their daily method of operation? How different would everything be if it wasn't a trial exercise, but a commitment to succeed exercise? It's like, you know, I'm going to try and get my driver's license. You're going to get it or not? That's the question that really matters. What's the point of trying if you're not going to get it? Just get the damn thing. So this idea of trying and not making a commitment to success, I think, is an important distinction. You know, I set a goal my first month. I remember that goal. My upline had hit 25,500, I think, was their first full month in the business. So it wasn't their first check. It was their first full month check in the business. Now, you don't make that kind of money in network marketing by accident. You're obviously a network marketing pro and you know how to organize a launch. And that's why you say first full month. That's a network marketing understanding, that you took a little bit of time to get something set up and then you kicked it. And then that's where you get your big payoff. And that's what you flash around town. Hey, look at me, look at me. You should join our network. That's how it's done in the pro side of network marketing. Not everybody comes in that way. Most people don't. But is there something to be said with a strategic launch, a commitment to actually make something happen in your first 90 days? Is there something to be said about that? Turns out that most of my ABC calls, if not every single one of my ABC calls, I always tell my story. How many of you have been telling your story? Does it start with how you were first introduced and what you liked about it and what you did and whatever, your product experience, whatnot? Every one of my stories, every one of my ABC calls has me telling my story. And you know where that story is, where it starts? It starts with my first involvement in Nikken, how I was introduced, what got my attention, what I did right, and what happened in those first 90 days that changed the course of my life. And then I fast forward the clock to right here and now, what's so special about right here and now. But I always tell the first 90 days because it was those 90 days that everything happened that mattered. The rest was going to take care of itself, but the whole thing got set up in those first 90 days. And so I think there's a real importance to launching somebody. I know that was point number 3 that Richard pointed out in his call last week in answering that question. Get somebody active under you, launch, get somebody, then 4, then 10, then 2 or 3 generations. So having a motive, making a commitment to succeed, not to try, and launching. Those seem to be 3 pretty important factors in what I think was different about me and what was different about most people. I wasn't the only person who joined Nikken January 1992 in Canada. And I can assure you there were hundreds who quit before the end of 1992, maybe thousands who quit Nikken before the end of 1992, who maybe joined in that first month like me. So what's the difference between them and me? They tried. I succeeded. The difference was what we were committed to. Failure was not an option. And when failure is not an option, you act differently. You just behave differently about how you approach the whole thing. So I think it's really important that we get our heads screwed on right. And we definitely help get new people's heads screwed on right, because I can assure you, most people are not wired this way, especially the younger generation. They're not wired this way. Everybody gets a trophy in Little League. Everybody's a winner. Everybody's where we've come to these days, the competitive spirit has been brainwashed out of everybody. And now it's just okay to be alive. It's like, wait a second. How do you make your dreams come true? Because it doesn't work that way. It takes commitment. It takes focus. About a half hour ago, we got off a call and I invited Paulina. She's the daughter of Gloria Nava to a call just to talk with my girls and give them a little bit of insight. And the girls were having one of those weeks where they were having, like most people do in this business, but it's new and you don't know how to deal with it. So I said, well, let's get somebody on the phone. Let's see what they say. So we got Paulina Viela on the phone. She's a Royal Diamond. She's awesome. And so Sophia sort of asked the question, and how do you create a culture with your team? Like, how do you get a culture going? And Paulina said, oh, that's simple. First, have fun. That was the answer. Have fun, enjoy what you're doing. So there's another aspect to this. It's got to be fun, or people just won't do it and they won't join you. So what are you doing to make sure that what you're doing every day is fun? That Nikan's fun. It's not a task. It's not a chore. That can setting a goal be made fun? Can striving to achieve that goal be fun? Or does it have to be a task and worrisome? And I mean, just flip it on its head. What if it was all fun? I love what Richard Brooks says, fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the process. If you can fall in love with the process, then you're just having fun all the time. Whether people get involved or not, it's okay. That's what she kept saying. If they show up, it's okay. If they don't show up, it's okay. If they do the work, it's okay. If they don't do the work, it's okay. It's all okay. So what if you were that objective? What if you were that objective that as long as you knew you were doing your part and having fun doing it, then the right people will fall in line. The right people will join, especially if you're targeting 1 to 2 people per day. Certainly, by the end of the month, that's 60 people. By the end of the year, it's over 600 people, 700 people. You don't think you're going to find somebody? What if that somebody is another superstar? You only need 3 to make a fortune in Nikan. Is it not worth it? It's all about how we design our day and how we go into it with our mind. How do we approach this so that it becomes effortless? It becomes just fun, something we enjoy doing. All right, so I wanted to open the floor and see if I could just get some involvement here in
Mike,
terms of.
I would, if I could recommend, I'd call on Barb Satterwhite. She keeps sponsoring. She's Miss Fun, Miss Go with the Flow. Have her give you some of her statistics.
You know, that's great. Thank you. Barb, are you, why don't you just, fill us in, because you are consistent, no question about it. Are you having fun? Is Nikan fun?
Helps if I unmute. Yes, in fact, did I see Sandra now on here? Yes, we just got through doing our home health tour. We have so much fun. And what I was thinking about tonight when we did it is, a few others here were on, it's been over a year that we've been doing this together, and it still excites me to see the team doing this and having fun and people getting on. A guest got on tonight and he got on the happy hydration hour and got his water pack because of it. And then he shared stories tonight. I mean, this is, I don't know how to explain this, but that has been the energy that's kept us going, I think, especially through COVID, is doing things together like that and making it fun. And so when it comes to sponsoring, though, again, it just amazes me. I just keep meeting people, and it's like Richard says, it's all about relationships and having fun with people and figuring out what they might need. Now, and I have sponsored a lot of people this year. Have they all done a lot? No, but there's 2 or 3 that I want to focus on to help them and help them see, like this guest is a customer of one of my people, and really looking at him to join her team because he's having fun just doing what he's doing, and he's only bought the water system. So yeah, it's fun.
Okay, so you said, I keep meeting people. What is your strategy for meeting people?
Well, it's not as rigid and as disciplined as Leo. I admire what Leo's done. My technique is going about my life. And by doing that, I'm running into people. And you might say, oh, well, that's not. Well, anyway, I've sponsored 15 people this year. So does that tell you anything? So now, like I said, working with them individually to see where they're going to go with this. But it's all about doing something that makes you feel good, because when I feel good, I'm attracting. In fact, I just got a couple emails today from people I haven't talked to in a long time that want something. And it's when I'm in that, like, it's what you've been preaching, Mike, when you're in good vibration. And the only way to get in a good vibration, or not the only way, but one of the ways, is be doing the things you like doing. Like, I like being in my yard and I meet my neighbors that way. I like shopping. I like going to my cottage, and I meet people everywhere I go. So for me, it's feeling, and you know, having just turned 75, it's like, why am I doing this? Well, it is still fun. Okay. If it wasn't fun, and or I wasn't meeting quality people, by that I mean people that really care and really want to help themselves. Now there's lots of the in-between people, but if that wasn't happening, would I still be doing this? Probably not.
All right. Any questions, guys?
I don't have a question. I'd just like to respond. Barb, you didn't really answer his question about what you do. Well, how does she do it? The criteria is be alive, breathing, and near her. That's all it takes. Just be alive, breathing, and near her. And in our calls, which have not always had the number that are now participating, Barb has this meeting every Sunday night, no matter how many come, she is there. And we end up laughing about something because she always asks, what are your wins? Come on, let's talk about what we did. What do we do good? Don Marie is grinning because it just makes you smile. And when you keep hearing about what others are doing that's bringing them success or good things, it just works. She also has us reading this book, The Power of Awareness.
Mike, I love that. I got the idea from you, Mike.
The power.
My favorite book.
There you go. I got it right here. And sometimes she'll say, well, has anybody read anything? She stopped asking that. She says, okay, let's pull out our book. And when we read it, it's just so natural. It's just, it's the environment. And she has taught us to think about it happening, not about what just might be as pie in the sky. It's literally, what do you want to happen? And she keeps saying the same words. So the repetition is making a difference too. But I just wanted to clarify what she does to make it work. If she gets
Wonderful.
near you and you're alive and you're breathing, that's all it takes.
Thank you for that, Sandra. And also thank you for bringing up this book because
Well,
it
Mike,
can't-
Mike,
go
let me
ahead.
say about the book, because I've had that book for several years since you first mentioned it, and I've given it to my silvers, and we decided on our calls, and guess what? I had figured out they're not reading it beforehand, so it's so small, in a chapter is a page and a half. We read it on the call, and we digest it, because some of it's like, what was that all about? You know, so to me, that's a simple thing to do as a group, because it just helps you in life in general. It's not just about Nick Hen.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's amazing. Well, I mean, the crux of the power of awareness is what you are aware of is what you create, what you manifest. So when you bring your awareness towards something, which could be negative news, that's bringing your attention, your awareness somewhere, and what you are aware of, you manifest, you attract. So if you're aware of something that you're conjuring up in your imagination, like a success, like a win, and you maintain your awareness of that, then you draw to you that win. And it's a simple formula, but it's the formula of the ages. So the real exercise in success is mental discipline. And it's really, it can't be emphasized more than that. You know, reading every day is a discipline. Can you do it? You know, it's doing the things on purpose daily. It's a DMO, daily method of operation. So should reading be one of those things that you insist on doing as the CEO of your life daily, even if it was just a chapter of a book that's a page and a half long? I can tell you, there's not a single chapter in this book that isn't going to go wow to you. And for me, when I read, it creates a vibration that I'm aware of. I feel a frequency in my body that is always there when I read this, and shifts my energy into a powerful force. Yeah, so there's nothing new on this call, nothing. It's just, how do we show the book to see the title, The Power of Awareness The author is Neville. You can get this online. It's even, you can probably even just get the downloadable text for free. There's a bunch of Neville's material online for free.
Neville
Just look up
Goddard.
Neville Goddard, Neville, Goddard, Goddard. Yeah, you can't say this enough, because until it's applied, it's just theory. It's just theory. So what could you do differently this week, different from previous weeks? Because it's an exercise that you've got to, it's like your body, you've got to give it training. You got to train it. You've got to do it with some regularity before it becomes natural. You got to really apply your willpower here to do something different. You know, we've got what, 3 days left in the month? Yeah, 3 days left in the month. This could be the best 3 days of your life in NECAN, or just like the last 3 days. It's entirely up to you. You might sponsor, you know, a Barb Satterwhite in the next 3 days. You know, you could. You absolutely could. You could try, or you could be committed to it.
Good pun.
Or you could be committed to it, because I'll tell you what, if you were committed to finding a person like Barb, you'd find them. You would
Yeah.
absolutely find them.
Mike, when you talk about, you just mentioned discipline, that was the word, that was my takeaway from Luis's NECAN Next this week. He said that the Japanese may not be as smart as others, but they're very disciplined. They really are in martial arts. They are in everything that they do. So that, what that reminded me of was the slide on the trajectory habits. It's the repetition of discipline, whether it's the Olympic star, doesn't matter what it is, brushing your teeth. You miss brushing your teeth, you miss it. You know, it is, so that discipline and repetition and doing. And we just need to pick up that.
I would say narrow it down to a daily method of operation. Call it a DMO. What's your DMO? What's your daily method of operation? Not what are you going to do this week? Break that down to what you're going to do this day and every day. It's a daily MO. It's your DMO. I mean, imagine a business that didn't open regularly. How would this business survive?
I think that's been one of the drawbacks of this being at home. You know, it's really easy to start doing something else and to just not stick to a time schedule or to stick to a DMO. It's easy to get distracted.
Yeah. So what, just start identifying the things that you've been hearing from all the leaders. What are the absolute must do's in your daily method of operation? What are the things that you got to do and you can't not do it unless, and you've got to do it until you go, before you go to bed. So you better make it sooner than later. Just what are those things? Because even a drip of water can cut a rock. Think about that. It's the idea of that DMO, that thing that you can do every single day. That's the difference between somebody who tries and somebody who's committed to success. Try is, oh, I'll do it as long as it's convenient, as long as it's comfortable. Well, that's not a commitment to success. Commitment to success is, I don't care if it's convenient. Most of the time it isn't. Success is not at all convenient. But I'll tell you one thing, failure is way more inconvenient. So success is not convenient, never will be. Don't look for that. It's a commitment, it's a discipline. The people who succeed are not always the smartest. It's just the ones who are the most committed based on their DMO. They have a daily ritual that they pursue that compounds and leads them to their outcome. They also are mentally tied to it, where they are tied to the outcome. They see the outcome, they see the outcome, they are aware of the outcome, not of the things in between. And they don't get distracted easily. They bring themselves back to their focus, their DMO. So why would you do any of this anyway? Why would you bother? It comes back to, what's your motive? What's your why? What's your why? If you don't have a strong enough why, then the distractions, what was it that Richard said? I think your whys have to be just a little bit greater than, you know, the other things on the other side of that scale, the inconveniences and all that stuff. Your why has to be taller than that. And if you're not sure how to get it done in NICAN, if you're not sure how to relate your objective to what it is you have to do in NICAN as a business, then please reach out to one of us. One of us knows. And, you know, I spend most of my time in NICAN coaching. That's a lot of my time is one-on-one coaching, giving people very specific instructions based on what it is they say they want and what they're prepared to do to get it. So reach out, find somebody who can help you if you're serious about it. But I'll tell you one thing, don't do that unless you're prepared to give them permission to hold you accountable. Because if you're not in the habit, most people aren't, if you're not in the habit of holding yourself accountable to a DMO, you've got to give somebody else permission to hold you accountable. Because it's a muscle that you haven't yet. You know, even the guys who go and weight train, they have people who are standing right there beside them, ready to take the weights off of them, you know, to hold them. You've got to have that. You've got to have somebody that's willing to do that work with you to keep you on track. So your buddy in that story. Any other questions or thoughts out there about this? Let me give you something to think about that you can apply this to directly every day. We have a convention coming up. One of the questions I asked Paulina was, what do you think about the World Convention? How important is it? She's like, what? She said, like, I'm shocked because you even asked me that question. What do you mean, how important is it? It's everything. It's like, you can't not be there. Anyway, the point being, we have a convention coming up, an international convention, a global convention on the 22nd, 23rd of October. Now, I'm sure most of you have already bought your ticket. How many of you bought your ticket? Okay. I'll bet you if you buy your ticket tonight before you go to bed, now knowing that you have a ticket to go, which is like $10, it's nothing. It's not even about that. It's about the mental discipline. It's about the focus. It's about taking an action in the direction of where you want to go. If you did that, now that you're committed to going, and of course, put it in your calendar, because if it's not in your calendar, other things can come in and you might forget. Put it in your calendar, buy the ticket. Okay, now we got one of you on your team going. So my question then would be, how many of you on your team would you like to be at that convention? Now you can try to get that number there, or you can make a commitment to getting that number there. I'll give you the distinction. How many of you are married or have been married? Gone to a wedding, been to a wedding, your wedding. Okay. What if you were just trying to get married? Would you have booked the church? Would you have booked the hall? Would you have sent the invitations out, made the list of who you're going to send the invitations out? Would you have, arranged the florists? Like, how many things would have just fallen off and just been on the try list? These are things I should do. I'll get to, if you were just trying to get married. Obviously, you weren't just trying. You were committed to it, because the closer the date approached, what happened to your level of activity, your level of attention, your level of focus? Okay, the time that you allocated to it. Everything was totally galvanized because you had a date with destiny. That was what caused all your behavior to be modified based on your date with destiny. That was a commitment to that date with destiny. And that was that. All the rest took place the way it took place because of that commitment. It wasn't a trial. What if that's the way you behave concerning the convention, or for that matter, any Nikan objective? What if it wasn't a trial? What if it was just simply your date with destiny? How would it inform you and organize your activities, your thoughts, your actions? You think you might meet more people. You think you might find yourself in a way that you can meet more people. Think about it. All those things happen in manners that you don't necessarily plan, but they unfold because of your date with destiny. So if you're sponsoring somebody new, why not plan a date with destiny for them? I had a guy I sponsored. The date with destiny was to become a platinum in their first month. Did we make that date with destiny? No. But they did $219,008 in volume. They produced a check for $19,500 in income. They broke 10 silvers and 1 gold. Well, 2 golds, them and another. All of that in 3 weeks in Nikan. What would have happened if we had no date with destiny? If we just tried. Let's just try. Oh, they didn't show up. Oh, well, I guess nobody's interested.
That correlates with that I over M, that exercise in HBM too, that not 99 over 1, but 100 over 0.
Yeah. See, the law is the law. I'm just the person bringing your attention to it every now and then. But it's this thing like gravity. It's just what it is. And if you start to work it like it really is the thing that's working in your life, and you do it on a daily method, you apply it daily because it compounds, and you act like the person with a date with destiny, not a person who's trying, but a person who has a date with destiny. What's your date with destiny? You know, it's funny that I just said that, because all of a sudden I got hit by emotions right this second, because today happens to be the anniversary of my mother's birth. And my date with destiny was September 27, 1997, to become a Royal Diamond. And it happened 6 hours advance of the date. But it was a date with destiny because it had significance, this date.
Now, Mike, October 1st is the beginning of a 90 days before 2022. So it's a good time for that. You always talk about the pre-launch, you know, at the end of the year for next year, but to really start 2022, if we all committed to a 90-day launch of just sponsoring our brains out, that would create a nice beginning to 2022.
I would even go further. What's the celebration in January going to be about? Where are you going to hold it? Who's going to be invited? Create a date with destiny. How many ornaments do you need? How many thank you letters? How many invitations? What like, have a celebration of that. You know, when you plan a wedding, the first thing you do is you set the date. And then you do the bookings to make sure you can lock that place down and so forth. And then you start looking at your list and who's going to come. And you don't know who's going to come until they actually respond. And then still, then you don't know. So, but you do go through a process. But it always starts with the date with destiny. Always. So
my nephew's wedding was this past Saturday, and they did it their way, but there wasn't a thing missed. It was absolutely excellent. There are 31 and almost 30. So they had it. It was supposed to happen last year, but didn't. So there was not a beat missed. It was interesting that you're using that example tonight.
Well, there you go. So more than this, I don't know. Does anybody want to add to that? Do you see a relevance here? Is anybody having an aha?
This is a card that I picked up in Japan. So it's also sometimes a bit lonely when you make that commitment that you're going to do something. Everybody down below is looking like when you're going the other direction, but you just made up your mind you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Well then, we have a few things that we need to say, have a date with Destiny on. We've got the World Convention, 22nd, 23rd. What's your date with Destiny there? It's the 22nd, 23rd. So who's in the game with you? We don't know who those faces are necessarily, but you can make a commitment to it. You know, the universe is listening always. And it's like, can you tell me what the heck it is you want? Because you keep changing your mind every 3 seconds. I can't get a fix on what it is I'm supposed to be delivering. So get real laser focused with a date with Destiny and an outcome, because the universe is always conspiring to manifest what it is that you're aware of. And whatever you're holding yourself aware of, that's it. It's just got to be like that. It's the will. It's just exercise that will, that it laser focus locks in on something. And then you don't veer from that. You don't let others take you away from that. I got to tell you this story. I know I've told you this story, but I was in my red Mercedes, top down, tan leather interior, my diamond car. As I was driving from on the 401 here, Highway 401, from Ottawa back to Toronto. I'm driving on my beautiful car, and this is my Royal Diamond run. And one of the people that I needed to have platinum done that month calls me on the phone. And this was like, I think 3 days from the end of the month. And she was, I think, 5,000 points away from breaking a silver. And so she calls me up in a panic, and it's like, oh my God, this, and she starts telling me all these things of what's happened and how this person bailed and blah, 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 and whatever. And I hear a little voice in my head. I swear to you, I hear a voice in my head, and it says, aren't you glad you gave yourself an extra month? Now, what do I mean by that? September 27th was my date with Destiny. This is August. And the convention in Toronto is in October 8th, which I wanted to be recognized and acknowledged as a Royal Diamond at that date with Destiny at that convention. That's why I had it done the month previous. So, and then my mind's telling me, aren't you glad you gave yourself an extra month? Thinking it's in October, extra month. Anyway, that's that little deceptive voice that's playing in your head all the time, messing you up, just this close to the truth, but it's not the truth. And so I get off the phone with this person, and all of a sudden I catch myself thinking that. And I'm like, oh, no, you don't. And I had a thing, I still do, it's in my credenza. I have a gold card that says honor before September 27, 1997, Royal Diamond. And on the backside, I had written faith of a mustard seed. That was my little clue to self. Cue to self. Hey, none of your business how it's going to happen. That's way out of your league, above your pay grade. All you need to know is that it's going to happen. Stay aware, stay focused on the outcome. The how, out of your league. It's not your business. That's in the domain of the divine. So just stay focused on your part of the exercise, which is the outcome. Visualize, understand, own the outcome. So I immediately call faith of a mustard seed. I say to myself, faith of a mustard seed, faith of a mustard seed. So I pick up the phone, I call her back. And God bless her, because she must have picked up on those vibes too, because we both said, cancel, forget all of that crap. And then we had a little bit of a party and said, isn't it gonna be fun to figure out, to see how this is gonna actually happen? Like, eliminate the doubt completely, just laugh it off. And it was like, this is going to be so much fun seeing how this is going to happen, because we know how this works. Okay, so that's 3 days before the end of the month, 5,000 points. Okay, put yourself in that space right now. Guess what? Last day of the month, out of literally the blue, shows up a guy who orders everything he wants for his wellness home, 5,000 points, bang, the silver is done. And that came out of nowhere. And you wonder, how does this work, this law? I don't know. It's none of my business. It's in the domain, it's in the domain of the divine. My job is simply to focus on what it is that I want to manifest. I got to keep my instructions clear. And so that was my little experience. That was one of many, I can tell you, that allowed the date with destiny to happen. I had to produce 15 silvers on my second level in 5 months, none of which were identified, none of which were known. Tell me something. If you don't believe in miracles, that's okay. I forgive you. But a miracle is really, I think, God's MO. It's just understand the rules, play by the rules, and you'll see the results of the miracle with some degree of consistency. It's just, we're not taught this. We're taught to try. Just try. Give it your best. And if you gave it your best, well, you know, you tried. That's not how it works. That's just like almost giving yourself permission to fail before you even started. Have a date with destiny. Trust trust you don't know how it's going to happen until it's happened anyway. So what's the point of worrying about it? Yep. Don, did you have a question or you raise your hand?
I do want to make a comment, and I love it when I hear you talk about this law of attraction, because it really does work. And when you mentioned the number 27, 27 is a significant day for me. I got married at 27. I had my first child at 27. I retired on the 27th day of June. It's just a lot of synchronicities with that number. And when you said that, I looked down and it's like, oh my gosh, today's the 27th. I'm on fire right now.
Amen.
I
All
met,
right.
oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. I met Eliza, and I didn't know Eliza, and I met her on something like this, and we connected. And we connected in such a way that we're going to be doing some things down the road. But on Saturday, she invited me to be her guest on the Seiko Kai. And I don't know where that came from, but I know it's a part of the alignment that's getting ready to happen. So I just want to thank you for being so open and so available to share this information, because it is so impactful and things are getting ready to happen big time. So thank you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, folks. I think we could probably call it a night then.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
lots to think about, but more importantly, you know, make that date with destiny a priority. Don't go to sleep tonight without having made some date with destiny, and then give yourself the opportunity to actually experience this process. Like, just go for it. Because once you've done it, when you've done it start to finish, when you've done it start to finish, and you know, I did this start to finish, you now own it. And those miracles become a little bit more common. There you go. Well, have a great night. Have a great month end.
Thank you. Very good timing. Thank you.
Have a good night. Ciao.